Chapter 1. The Gathering Storm. The galaxy had never known peace. For as long as sentient life had spread its reach to the stars, conflict was a constant. Empires rose, rebelled, and fell, leaving destruction in their wake. But among all the warring species, none were as feared as the Zul'Kathar Empire. The Zul'Kathar were not just conquerors, they were annihilators. Their military might was unmatched, and their technological superiority seemed to come from beyond the limits of time itself. Their empire spanned thousands of star systems, and their fleet of 500,000 dreadnoughts ensured that no rebellion could succeed, no resistance could survive. Their name had become synonymous with inevitability. Every planet, every species that stood against them had been crushed beneath the weight of their war machine. As their fleet approached the Sol system, the Zul'Kathar were confident this would be another easy victory. Their intelligence suggested that the humans had mysteriously vanished centuries ago, leaving their home system abandoned. To the Zul'Kathar, the Sol system was a prize of resources and relics, particularly the forgotten ruins of Earth, which held untold secrets. Ancient human technology had always intrigued the Empire's scientists, even though humanity was no longer a concern. With no trace of humans left, the fleet saw Earth as nothing more than a silent relic ripe for conquest. The Zul'Kathar fleet commander, General Kurthal, stood aboard the command deck of his flagship, the Doomspire, observing the distant system. His massive armored form towered over the other officers, his four glowing eyes betraying no emotion. To him, this was just another job, another system to claim in the name of the Empire. The scans show no signs of active defenses, General, his chief tactical officer reported, a holographic map of the Sol system shimmering before them. The planet seems dead, no life signs, no energy readings, Kurthal grunted, just as expected. Begin orbital bombardment and ready the salvage teams. I want every human artifact collected. Their technology may be old, but it could still hold value. The order was given, and 500,000 dreadnoughts drifted into position. Their cannons aimed toward Earth's surface, preparing to unleash devastation on what little remained of humanity's once great civilization. The silence of space was broken only by the hum of engines and the distant crackle of energy building within the cannons of the fleet. But deep within Earth's long-abandoned surface, something stirred. Beneath the crumbling ruins of human cities, hidden far below in subterranean chambers that had been untouched for millennia, Rin awoke. His eyes fluttered open, taking in the cold, dark surroundings of his underground refuge. It had been years since he had last stirred from his long slumber, and for a brief moment he wondered why he had woken now. Then the memories came flooding back. He was the last human. The last of a species that had once stretched across the stars. His people had not disappeared. They had chosen to leave, ascending to a higher plane of existence, leaving behind only one of their kind to guard their final secret. Rin had remained on Earth for centuries, waiting, watching, and protecting. But Rin was not alone. By his side lay his companion, Shade, a creature as old as time itself. Shade was unlike any creature that had ever roamed the Earth. Its massive shadowy form seemed to flicker in and out of reality, its dark fur shifting like liquid shadow. Its eyes, glowing a deep violet, stared into the abyss as if it could see into other dimensions. Shade had been Rin's protector and companion since before humanity had left, and now it would be needed again. Rin could feel the presence of the Zul'Kathar fleet above. Their arrival had triggered his awakening. He rose to his feet, his muscles stiff from years of inactivity, but his mind as sharp as ever. He could sense the dreadnoughts in orbit, feel the hum of their energy weapons as they prepared to annihilate what little remained of Earth's surface. "They've come," Rin muttered, his voice echoing in the empty chamber. "They've come to finish what they started." Shade growled softly, its massive form shifting as it rose to its feet beside him. The creature's dark, shifting fur seemed to blend into the shadows around it, making it appear as if it were part of the darkness itself. Its eyes glowed with an intensity that sent chills down Rin's spine. "They don't know what they're dealing with," Rin continued, a grim smile forming on his lips. "But they're about to find out." Rin reached out with his mind, tapping into the ancient human technology buried deep beneath the Earth's surface. His ancestors had left behind powerful machines, hidden from the galaxy, for this very moment. The Zolcathar may have thought humanity was extinct, but they had no idea what was coming. With a thought, Rin activated the ancient defense systems, and the Earth itself seemed to tremble in response. Massive energy shields shimmered into existence around the planet, blocking the Zolcathar's bombardment before it could even begin. The Dreadnoughts' cannons fired, but their energy blasts were absorbed by the shields, dissipating harmlessly into space. On board the Doomspire, General Kurthal's eyes widened in shock as the planet below them suddenly activated its defenses. His officers scrambled to make sense of the situation, but none of them had expected this. "Impossible," Kurthal snarled. "The humans are supposed to be gone. Sir, the planet's defenses are too strong. Our weapons aren't getting through." One of the officers reported in a panicked voice. Kurthal's mind raced. How could a dead planet have such powerful defenses? It didn't make any sense. There had been no signs of life, no energy readings. And yet Earth had awakened. "Prepare the ground forces," Kurthal barked. "I want boots on the ground. Whatever is down there, we'll root it out." But as the Zolcathar forces prepared to land, something far more terrifying than ancient human defenses stirred in the shadows of Earth's ruins. Rin and Shade moved through the underground tunnels, preparing for the battle ahead. They would not let the Zolcathar take Earth, not while they still drew breath. "Let them come," Rin said, his voice cold and determined. "They'll wish they had never set foot on this planet." As the first Zolcathar ships descended toward the surface, Rin and Shade were ready. The Empire would learn a hard lesson. Humanity was not so easily extinguished, and even a single human with the right ally could turn the tide of war. The gathering storm had only just begun. Chapter 2. The unleashing of Shade, the Zolcathar drop ships roared through the atmosphere, their massive hulls cutting through the sky as they prepared to land on Earth. From within, thousands of elite Zolcathar soldiers stood ready, their advanced armor shimmering with the latest technological enhancements. They had never faced serious resistance before, not since the Empire's founding, but they had been trained for every conceivable scenario. General Kurthal watched from the bridge of the Doomspire, his 4 eyes narrowed in concentration. The surface of Earth was a strange mix of ruined structures and overgrown forests, relics of a bygone era. What had once been the capital of humanity now lay in forgotten ruins. But somewhere down there, something had activated the shields. Something was waiting for them. As the first drop ships touched down on Earth's surface, the soldiers disembarked in perfect formation. Their weapons, capable of disintegrating most known materials, were charged and ready. Yet the land was silent, no resistance, no movement, only the eerie whisper of the wind through the ancient ruins. "Spread out and secure the perimeter," the Zolcathar commander ordered. "We need to find the source of those defenses." But hidden among the shadows, Rin and Shade waited. Rin stood at the edge of a ruined building, his cloak blending with the decayed stone. His eyes were sharp, scanning the horizon as the Zolcathar soldiers fanned out. Beside him, Shade's massive form seemed to ripple in and out of reality, its violet eyes glowing faintly as it observed the invaders. The bond between Rin and Shade was more than just companionship. It was a connection forged through eons, something no alien mind could comprehend. "They're searching," Rin whispered, "but they won't find what they're looking for." Shade let out a low growl, its fur bristling as its form shifted, growing even larger, darker. The creature was no mere animal, it was an ancient being, a creature of myth and legend. Its true power had not been unleashed for centuries, but that was about to change. As the Zolcathar soldiers moved closer, their scanners beeped with confusion. The readings were inconsistent. Something was disrupting their sensors. "Commander," one soldier reported, "I'm picking up strange energy signatures ahead. It's organic, but it doesn't match anything in our databases." Before the commander could respond, a shadow fell over the group. The soldiers froze, their eyes widening as they turned to see a massive shifting form step out of the darkness. Shade had emerged. With a single growl, the creature leaped forward, its form blurring as it moved faster than any being the Zolcathar had ever encountered. The soldiers barely had time to raise their weapons before Shade was upon them. Its massive claws sliced through their advanced armor as if it were paper, sending sparks and blood into the air. Panic spread through the Zul'Kathar ranks as Shade tore through their formations with terrifying precision. Energy blasts from their weapons were useless, phasing through the creature's shadowy form without harm. Every time they thought they had locked onto it, Shade would vanish into the darkness, only to reappear behind them, wreaking havoc. From his vantage point, Rin watched, his heart steady. He had no need to intervene. Shade was more than enough, but he wasn't without his own power. Reaching out with his mind, Rin activated the ancient human technologies buried deep within the earth. Pulses of energy rippled through the ground, sending tremors through the Zul'Kathar's ranks. General Kurthal, one of the Zul'Kathar officers, shouted over the comms, "We're encountering resistance, some kind of entity. It's tearing through our forces." Kurthal's jaw clenched. He had never expected to face such a threat on this barren world, but his pride wouldn't let him retreat. "Send in the heavy artillery," he growled. "Whatever is down there, it's no match for the full might of the Empire." High above on the Doomspire, the Dreadnoughts activated their most powerful weaponry. Massive cannons began to charge, aimed at the surface. The plan was simple. If ground forces couldn't subdue the threat, they would turn the planet's surface into molten slag. But as the energy built within the cannons, something extraordinary happened. The shields around Earth began to pulse with a strange golden light. Rin, now standing atop one of the tallest ruins, raised his arms, channeling the ancient energy that had been stored deep within the planet. The energy of the ancient humans, long dormant, flared to life. With a deafening roar, the golden shields expanded, pushing outwards, and in an instant, the entire Zul'Kathar fleet found themselves on the defensive. The energy disrupted their systems, short-circuiting their weapons and sending their ships spiraling out of control. On the ground, Shade finished the last of the soldiers, standing amidst a field of destruction, its violet eyes glowing with satisfaction. Rin stepped forward, standing beside his companion, watching as the once invincible Zul'Kathar fleet above struggled to regain control. "They don't understand what they're dealing with," Rin said softly, more to himself than to anyone else. "They've never faced a human." Shade growled in agreement. Chapter 3. The desperation of the Zul'Kathar on the Doomspire, chaos reigned. General Kurthal gripped the railing of the command deck. His usually calm demeanor shattered as reports of failures flooded in from every corner of the fleet. Hundreds of dreadnoughts had already lost control, their systems overwhelmed by the ancient energy pulse. "How is this possible?" Kurthal demanded, his voice rising in fury. There were no signs of life. This world was supposed to be dead. An officer trembled before him, struggling to find words. "General, it seems there is one human, one with something monstrous." Kurthal's eyes widened. One human? How could one human be causing such destruction? The Zul'Kathar had conquered entire star systems, yet here they were, being brought to their knees by a single being. "Prepare the annihilation cannon," Kurthal growled. "If we cannot take this planet, we will destroy it. Leave nothing behind." As the orders were carried out, the crew began preparations to fire the Doomspire's most devastating weapon. A blast from the annihilation cannon would wipe out the entire planet, erasing it from existence. Nothing would survive, not even the ruins. But on the surface, Rin could feel the energy gathering in the Zul'Kathar's flagship. His connection to the ancient human technologies was deep, and he knew what was coming. He turned to Shade, who stood beside him, its dark form rippling in the fading light of the day. "They're desperate," Rin said. "They're going to destroy everything. We can't let that happen." Shade growled in agreement, and together they moved toward the source of the energy, the Doomspire. Chapter 4. One last stand. Rin and Shade moved with purpose, their forms flickering through the shadows of Earth's ruins, while above them, the massive Zul'Kathar fleet continued to tremble under the overwhelming pressure of the ancient human energy. But it wasn't over. Rin could feel the immense buildup of energy on the Doomspire. The annihilation cannon was priming, and when it fired, it wouldn't just be Earth that was obliterated. It would create a shock wave that would wipe out the entire solar system. As they approached the center of the ruins, Rin stopped, his eyes narrowing. A small, seemingly unremarkable platform lay hidden beneath layers of debris. He knelt down, brushing away centuries of dirt and dust to reveal a circular mechanism, glowing faintly with golden light. "This is it, Shade," Rin whispered. "The last piece." Shade growled softly, lowering its head as if sensing the power emanating from the platform. The platform was a relic of the ancient humans, a final safeguard left behind in case the worst came to pass. The weapon was beyond anything that even the Zolcathar could comprehend, an energy pulse capable of dismantling the fabric of reality itself. It was humanity's last gift, and the only thing that could stop the annihilation cannon. Rin placed his hand on the platform, and a surge of energy shot through him, connecting him to the hidden power of his ancestors. He could feel their presence, their knowledge, their strength. The platform began to hum with power, and the golden light intensified, pulsing with raw energy. On the Doomspire, General Kurthal stood tall, his confidence returning as the annihilation cannon reached its final charging sequence. "Prepare to fire on my command," he barked, his voice full of grim determination. He refused to believe that a single human could undo everything the Zolcathar had built. The Empire's might would prevail, just as it always had. But as the crew prepared to initiate the final sequence, a ripple of golden light appeared on their screens. Kurthal's eyes widened in horror as he watched the energy pulse from Earth expand rapidly, covering the entire fleet. The annihilation cannon's power began to fluctuate wildly, and alarms blared across the ship. "General, we're losing control of the cannon," one officer shouted, panic creeping into his voice. Kurthal slammed his fist against the command console. "What is happening?" Back on Earth, Rin stood with his hand still on the platform, focusing all of his willpower into the energy pulse. Shade stood guard beside him, its violet eyes watching the sky, sensing the Zolcathar's frantic movements. The platform was not just a weapon, it was a gateway into the very core of the universe, to the place where energy and matter intertwined. Rin was tapping into that raw, primal force, something the Zolcathar could never have anticipated. The pulse expanded further, reaching out into space and enveloping the entire fleet in golden light. The Zolcathar Dreadnoughts began to malfunction, their advanced technology unraveling before the power of ancient human energy. Systems shut down, weapons disarmed, and the Dreadnoughts drifted helplessly in space. The Doomspire trembled as the pulse reached it, its annihilation cannon short-circuiting, sparks flying from the massive weapon as it collapsed under its own power. Kurthal watched in disbelief as his invincible fleet, fell into chaos. Ships were powerless, drifting aimlessly, their weapons useless. The Empire's greatest military force had been reduced to wreckage by a single human and his mysterious ally. This can't be," Kurthal muttered, his voice barely a whisper. "How can this be happening?" Rin felt the strain of the platform's energy coursing through him, but he held firm. His ancestors had left him with this final power for a reason, and he would not fail them. He pushed harder, sending one final surge through the pulse, ensuring that every last Zolcathar dreadnought was rendered inert. Beside him, Shade growled softly as if sensing the victory. The massive creature looked up at Rin, its violet eyes glowing with a strange kind of pride. "It's done," Rin said quietly, finally releasing his grip on the platform. The golden light faded, leaving the sky above calm and silent once more. The once mighty Zolcathar fleet now floated aimlessly in orbit, their ships powerless and their weapons disabled. In the aftermath, the Zolcathar Empire would never recover. The destruction of their greatest fleet sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy, and the once feared empire crumbled as word spread of their defeat. No one could comprehend how a single human had brought down the mightiest fleet ever assembled, but the story spread like wildfire. Rin and Shade returned to their quiet existence on Earth, the ancient human defenses still standing strong. They would continue to watch over their planet, guarding the secrets of humanity's past, while the galaxy pondered the mystery of the last human and his shadowy companion. As Rin stood on the edge of the ruins, watching the stars, he smiled faintly. The Empire never stood a chance. Shade let out a soft growl of agreement, and together they vanished into the shadows once more.